What's the stupidest excuse you have ever heard? It was mine. We had this teacher in year 10 who was a complete hard ass. I was late for a few of his classes and he told me that if I was late again he would give me a detention and call my parents. Well, I was late again. He asked me if I had a good reason. I didn't, and I just blurted out the first thing that came to mind. I couldn't find my pants. He was so taken aback he didn't give me a detention or mention it to my parents. He spent a good 10 minutes roasting me though. Very relevant in some US states this morning. This one guy would show up to work an hour late after the daylight savings time change. He claimed he forgot to change his clocks at home for DST, but he would use that excuse whether we moved the clock forward or backward. If he was telling the truth, he'd be an hour early to work once a year. But no, he was an hour late twice a year. I'm a teacher and I just got this one like 5 minutes ago. Teacher, why isn't your homework done? Student, I didn't have a pencil. Teacher, over the whole weekend? Student, yeah. Teacher, like you don't have them in your home? Student, no, we have them. I just didn't get one. I can't come in today, I just found out my 2 dads are gay. A guy at a bar wanted us to buy him a drink because he was unemployed. We probed about why he has no job and he said he lacked confidence. I said you seem to have plenty of confidence asking strangers for free stuff. Girl, I can't fart, I was born without a bladder. Me, you really shouldn't be ditching school right now. Proceed to get baked and make fun of Megan. Girl I was dating said that she couldn't eat pierogies I made because it had buffalo hot sauce on them. I asked her why, and her reply was that it has buffalo in it and that she's vegetarian. She was sexy as but I just couldn't do it after that statement and broke it off. No way. During San Francisco Fleet Week, I had an employee refuse to come to work because there was a Russian ship parked in the bay, along with many other ships. She was absolutely convinced that the ship was here to nuke us. It's not cheating because I was in a different town. It's still cheating, you harlot. Elementary school, kid didn't like sleepovers. That's fine, but instead of just saying I'm okay he would tell us / our parents he cannot come because his grandma died. He went through 6 grandmas. I used to play in a band where the drummer always came up with ridiculous excuses to skip rehearsal. The best one was, my wife was having a breakdown because of the anesthesia while getting her belly pierced. What? While in the middle of the SAT test, some kid got up and started walking to the door. The testing proctor asked what he was doing, and he declared that someone had farted and he was now unable to concentrate. The proctor glared at him and said nothing, and the kid left. Perhaps it was the environment, but no one even laughed. I've given some stupid ones due to bad mental health. Especially if whatever was wrong coincided with something else like a loved one being sick or whatever. I once just stood up in class at university and said, sorry I need to go, I'm not right. Which just sounds ridiculous and stupid, but was technically the truth, and I just couldn't find a way to say what was wrong with me. I've also just used I just can't. Recently. They were owed an explanation but I just couldn't put one together. A kid I worked with quit because he said his mom got hit by a car and he wouldn't have a ride to work anymore. The next day we saw his mom driving him right past our work. Every semester a bunch of students went off a couple days before the official holiday starts. Half of these motherfuckers say that their grandmother died. No one ever says their grandfather died. I am gonna have to start requesting a photo of the body. I work with addicts and alcoholics. We give them drug tests and I've heard a ton of excuses why they are positive on a drug test. My favorite would have to be a woman who was a meth user. I ask her why she was positive and she denied it could have been positive because she hasn't used. I always ask for an explanation if they deny to see if I can catch them lying. She asks me so what if I had unprotected sex with my boyfriend, cause he still uses. Of course, you can't test positive like this, but my mental image will always be a man fun dipping his penis into meth and then proceeding to have intercourse. Had a housekeeper at a resort hotel who couldn't be on time for her shifts if it meant saving her own life. This one lady had a regular habit of sauntering on into the office 20 or 30 minutes late seemingly every other day, uncombed hair, looking hungover, and always reeking of cigarettes. Her excuse for such frequent tardiness, I'm a smoker. I need more time for my morning cigarette. I smoked a pack and a half a day for 2 years, and I've long since quit, so I called. This woman had a short commute from a few blocks away, her own on wheels for a car, and no kids, so therefore no reason why she couldn't have a smoke en route. Also, at least half the other housekeepers are also smokers and they still showed up on time for their shifts. Maybe she had something else going on. I suspected drinking problem or untreated depression, maybe both, but what a dumb excuse for a smoker to make to another smoker who works among even more smokers. I'm waiting on my direct deposit to hit as they sit around. Like it's going to just come at a random time lol. I wanted to prove to my girlfriend I wasn't lazy. Had a Cuban friend in high school who took his Latin machismo too far sometimes. He was one of those fellows who insisted on proving himself to everybody. In a world where everybody had soft lenses, he wore rigid gas permeable that irritated his eyes. Anyway, our senior year our friend group took film class, easy fine arts credit, and especially so when we made films at home when bored to entertain ourselves. So we'd basically just incorporate whatever concept the teacher wanted into the film sketch of the week, and boom, we got an A for minimal work. Our Cuban friend, however, got into a spat with his girl, and he decided he was going to prove to her he didn't need to work with us to get an A. He ended up with a 27% in the class. The professor literally asked him how he could be that stupid, as he was the first person in 10 years to get a grade lower than a D in that class. And the best part was that because of that, he didn't graduate on time, and he still came. Sorry I can't come to work today. I tried to flush my toilet with my foot I missed and stepped in the bowl. My shoe is covered in feces. It's my only shoes so I can't come in. Brother-in-law didn't want to help move so claimed he had a bad back. He didn't even know what it meant. My mother-in-law sold his Xbox after he refused to help. Sorry I can't come. I need to send this letter to a friend because her computer is all broken and the post office is really busy. Facepalm. Just tell me you're ditching me to have sex with your boyfriend SMH. I work in a local shop. Long story short, two junkies walk in the shop at 9:40 p.m. They come to buy booze at my checkout for about 10:10 p.m. Scottish alcohol law can't buy drink from a shop after 10 p.m. Explained that to them. Their excuse they used was, well, we walked into the shop before 10 p.m. so you should sell it to us. I didn't think I had to come to work because it snowed. I'm sorry, but the 1/8 inch of snow we got doesn't stop your job from happening. One of my friends asked the teacher to be allowed to leave early because his mother sent him a chocolate on fax and he needs to go to the post office to pick it up. Just because he's polling at 2% doesn't mean he won't win the primary. Guy I know did his own album cover. Makes himself so heavily photoshopped that he looks plastic. I tell him that. He just stammers back, but that's the effect I wanted. Dude, you're in your 60s and you shopped yourself into your 30s again. Nope. This guy who was in my class always blamed the bus for being late. Last year, I moved to another apartment right in front of the one where he lives in. I lived 10 minutes, by foot, away from the school. Was made by me in undergrad. I had a physics professor that asked if anyone made it to her seminar a few days ago, in the small group. She looked at me and I said, sorry, I couldn't make it, I had class. I didn't even know when it was but figured it's usually a valid excuse. She said, it was during lunch period, when it was physically impossible to have class. Yeah, everyone looked at me like the I was. I used to work in a drive-through lumber yard. A guy came in with a rented trailer, and drove about 100 yards past the item that he was buying. When we asked him to back up, he said, how am I supposed to back up with a trailer? I'm wearing sandals.
So back in the early to mid-90s, a very close friend of my family's worked as an admin assistant at one of those late-night softcore channels that ran on basic cable, nothing like Skinamax. They were small and mostly local to whichever city you were in. She said a lot of the movies they'd run were filmed right there on their sets. And one day, one of the actresses just didn't show up for her shoot. She came in the next day, and my friend was present in the room when they were yelling at her about why she wasn't at filming the day before. Her response was that she had come down with a bout of breast cancer. Seeing that no one in the room really believed her, she quickly added, I'm fine now, it went away. Lady I worked came up with several of them. When she didn't show up on time, we would all wait eagerly to hear the call and what her excuse today would be. Here's a few that stick out to me. Sorry, gonna be a few hours late today. My cat threw up. Sorry, gonna have to miss work today. My basement is musty and I sprayed Lysol down there. Sorry, gonna be very late today. I left my windows open last night and have to close them all. She was an odd one. I was pulled over and beat up by cops because I matched the description of a bank robber in the area. 17-year-old explaining why he was an hour late to work. Ex-friend's excuse for cheating on his girlfriend 3 times. I have multiple personality disorder, it was my out. No documents, never diagnosed. A girl I work with was caught sleeping on the job. We have pictures as proof and it was sent to the boss. When asked about it, she said she was praying. War on drugs and war on terrorism. My CO worker, I can't come in today. I ate a pizza. You pay for it first, my purse is so deep inside my bag, I'm gonna pay you later. My dog ate my homework. But I'm only 10 inches. Can you take my shift? It's my girlfriend's birthday. 5 times in 1 year. My friend said he couldn't hang out because he was feeding his dog. I've got my period. A friend of mine said he couldn't mow the lawn because he has a bad back. Yet he had no troubles unloading a lot of groceries from a car and putting them away before sitting down with snacks to play video games for the rest of the day.